Hello friends, so today's video is going to be another reading vlog. I haven't done one of these in quite a while, but there are so many upcoming releases that I've been interested in, and I want to really spend a lot of time reading this week. I'll go over what books I'm hoping to read. So one of them has not yet arrived, and that would be She Who Rides the Storm. So this is a pre-order that hasn't gotten to me just yet. It's a little bit late in getting to me, so hopefully it gets here soon. But if it doesn't, then maybe I'll try to swap in something else. Another book on the list, though, would be Iron Widow. This is following a society that is very futuristic. It's sci-fi fantasy, and it's supposed to be loosely inspired by Chinese history, but also futuristic, and that they have giant robots, basically, that they use to fight. It's been described as a blend of Pacific Rim and The Handmaid's Tale, because there's a lot of emphasis on the way that women are treated in this society, so I think that's where The Handmaid's Tale part of the, not inspiration, but comparisons come into play. A book that I have started, but I'm not yet done with, would be Small Favors. So this is one that's following a small town that is experiencing some really creepy things, and everybody in the town knows each other, but also it's like, are they just sort of making things up because it's a small town and people talk and people exaggerate, or is there actually something going on? And there's definitely something going on. I just don't know what's going on just yet, but things are getting really creepy, and I'm really liking it so far. So once I'm done with it, I will update you. But so far, very good. Also, this cover is very deceiving because it makes it look like it's cheerful and happy, and it's not. From there, we have Redemptor. This is the sequel to Ray Bear. I really liked that first book. I really liked a lot of the themes that are handled in it, and it's a duology. This is the last one, and I have been meaning to jump into it for a while now. Last, we have Defy the Night by Bridgette Kemmerer. I don't know too much about this one. I don't want to know too much about this one because I just know I like this author's writing, and this is a new fantasy story by her, and I just want to see. I want to see what this one's like. Very excited about all of these. Shortly after filming that little clip, She Who Rides the Storm arrived, and it's fat. I was not expecting it to be so big. It's almost 600 pages. So now I'm a little unsure. Sorry for my foot. I'm a little unsure if this is gonna be manageable, but we're gonna give it a go. We're gonna try.
Someone is enjoying the belly rubs on Luna Bear. Designated family snuggles.
Oh, excuse you.
Oh, stretch. Stretching.
Excuse you. Excuse you again. Oh, wow. You sleepy? Did that word sound like a different word that makes you happy? Oh, did you want more belly rubs? Oh. Yay for belly rubs. Face of joy.
And for us to go to sleep.
My goodness, so many yawns. What? What? What?
Luna, love you. Yeah, I love you.
I wanted to show you all some things I've been very much enjoying, especially for the beginning of the fall season. So, mentioned this candle a couple times. It has a wooden wick. I got it from Target. And the wooden wick means that when it's burning, it crackles, kind of like a campfire would. And it smells so good. The scent that I got is vanilla pumpkin. It's so good, oh my gosh. And then I want to share this with you too. So I'm not really a coffee drinker. Every now and then I'll get some kind of caramel flavored thing here and there, but really not at all. I'm not a coffee person. But that was Luna Bear. Hold on. Luna, are you grumbling? Anywho, my husband very sweetly was like, well, maybe we just need to get you a really good creamer because he drinks his coffee black. So he bought me this. He really wants to recruit me. He wants me to be a coffee person, but he bought me this creamer. It tastes so good, oh my gosh. So I'll take coffee and then I'll put it in the fridge, and then I'll add some ice later and some of this. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So I'll give you a closer look at it in case something like this, right? Some kind of caramel flavored creamer. The other thing though is because It's only been basically a week that I've started drinking this, and my husband now is, like I said, trying to recruit me to be a coffee drinker. So he very sweetly bought me this this mug that says Cuddle Weather Cup, and then it has warm little socks and then some warm vanilla body lotion, which I thought was adorable because my husband's a really sweet guy, and also he really wants me to drink coffee. And Luna Bear is cute too. And she's upset that I'm talking about something else. Except for now I am talking about her. But just look how cute she is. She's so cute. A little update on my reading. So with She Who Rides the Storm, because there's no audiobook currently for it, and it's a lot bigger than I was expecting, I decided to swap in another book that I had on my TBR, which would be She Who Became the Sun. Another very similarly titled story. But this is one I've been meaning to pick up, and I am currently 213 pages into it. The beginning follows one main perspective, and then we get others as the story progresses. But when we first start, we're following a character who, her brother and father died, and her brother was supposedly destined for great things, so now she is trying to take her brother's place so that she can also take his destiny. That's kind of the idea with this character. And we start out with them kind of young, and we get a little bit of an overview of them growing up. And we start to see how they are being shaped by their very fervent belief that they are destined for greatness, and how it's kind of that back and forth, similar to Witcher, like, is your fate determined, or do you have to seek it out? Do you have to claim your destiny, or will it claim you, sort of a thing? And I think that theme is always very interesting to explore. So I think the author is exploring that theme very, very well. There's also a lot to do with gender, because the character, in order to pursue this destiny, has to try and take on the male role that her brother had, that in this society is not, there's very strong differences between what women can do and what men can do. And then as the story goes on, we start to see other characters, and we're seeing characters that are on opposing sides. So there's somebody who is supposedly also destined for greatness, and we're kind of seeing how all these characters are intertwined. As a result of there being so many different POVs, I think that when we first started, I was invested maybe a little bit more because I was only following one character, and now I feel like I have to very much pay attention to who's who and what's going on and all the little intricacies between one character and their father, or this character and this soldier, or this character and this general, or those sorts of things. And I'm hoping that we're going to see how all of this comes together and how all of these characters' lives affect one another. But as of right now, about halfway through the book, I think I'm still just trying to learn who's who and really feel grounded. I don't feel a strong connection to any one character. I'm just sort of observing everything and trying to take things in. So that's where I'm at with this one. I finished 3 other books, though. So I finished Small Favors. I don't know where I put the book sleeve. I gotta find the book sleeve. But I finished Defy the Night and Iron Widow. I'm going to start with Iron Widow because I think this one is very, very, very popular. Also kind of goes into similar themes as She Who Became the Sun, but it's a very, very different story. Both are sort of reimagining ancient Chinese history. So I think in that way they're kind of alike. Both of them are exploring gender roles and the effects that has on these characters, but they are very different. So this one, I think that whether you like or dislike this book, I do not think that you can argue that it is very unique, and in some ways I think that we're gonna point to this book when we look at the future of sci-fi fantasy, because it did things that I've never seen done before. So it's described as The Handmaid's Tale meets Pacific Rim. The Pacific Rim thing being that there are these giant things called chrysalises that technically boys and girls control these, but the magic that is tied to these characters, the magic is, you're told, and society tells our character, and she really questions this, but society tells you that the boys have stronger magic than the girls, and sometimes in the heat of battle, when a lot of times the boys are paired with a girl to control these chrysalises, when they're paired together, the boys' magic will kind of overwhelm the girls, and then the girls will end up dying. And our main character, her sister, is somebody who lost her life. That's opening of the book. It's not a spoiler. That's kind of what motivates our character. Her sister died, and now she wants revenge she's kind of not only wanting revenge against the boy who killed her sister in the heat of battle through his magic, but she also just kind of rages against the system. And I don't mean this in a negative way. It's almost like female, or maybe not even female, but it's like wish fulfillment for everybody who has ever had to deal with people mistreating them for the most ridiculous of reasons, right? Where you're just like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? Like, anytime you've ever felt that, that's what this book, it feels like, yeah, what if we actually could take down those people? And for that reason, I mean, it was definitely very adventurous and very fast-paced, and our main character is somebody who tolerates nothing. She is going to take down whoever she has to take down. All that said, I was very, very into this at the beginning, but ultimately, this book is quite short, and I think for my personal taste, the shorter length kind of, I don't want to say hurt it as if it's an objective thing, but I just think that I would have preferred it to be longer, because a lot of the politics or a lot of the world, I think we didn't get to dive into as much. We definitely dived into the views of society, and I think that's the main focus of the book. We didn't have to get into the world as much as possible. We only really needed, for the purpose of the story, to get the pieces that we got. However, I just thought it's so interesting and so unique to have this blend of ancient history and reimagining real not characters, but real people in history, but then taking them and putting them in this fantasy, sci-fi, futuristic setting. I thought that was so fascinating. I thought the magic was interesting. I thought that these giant robot things basically were really interesting, and I guess I just wanted even more of that. And I'm typically a character-driven reader, but I do think that our characters they're almost more representing themes in a sense. And so I don't know how much I felt connected to the character, because she represents, like I said, like all the rage of mistreatment. And she doesn't feel like I don't have slow moments with her where I get to marinate in her feelings. Like, her feelings are anger, basically the whole book. Anger and rage and any other word that's associated with that, and bitterness, and just she's going to do whatever she can with those emotions. And so I think if you like really the fight scenes are cool. If you like really action-packed stories, if you want something unique, and if you want that kind of wish fulfillment where your whole life you've just had to deal with frustrating things in society, but for once you get to imagine, what if I actually got to smack down all these people who say all these ridiculous things, then you're going to love this. But if you're somebody who wants more of that giant world building, and if you're somebody who likes to slow down every now and then, I always say I like when the characters are in their feelings and I want to sit and think with them. And I don't feel like we get a whole lot of in this book. We don't get that a whole lot. So if you like the fast, I always feel bad comparing things because sometimes it's not accurate whatsoever. But for those of you that love Rage of Dragons and just love the go, 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 go pace of that story, then I think that in that way you might really, really like this one. And again, it's so unique. It's so fascinating, but I just kind of wish we'd had more time. Defy the Night, it's definitely not super unique the way the other one, Iron Widow, is. It's a little bit more what you would expect from a fantasy story. We follow these two characters, and one of them is this prince who's having this very, very negative reputation, and he's the kind of character who his punishments are harsh and swift and cruel. And I know cruel and harsh are basically the same thing, but he's notorious for being really mean, basically. And then our main other character is somebody who's like living among the people, and they and their best friend at night do what they can to distribute medicine to people who are sick. There's this illness going around that's affecting everyone, and through the prince's point of view, you end up seeing that there's more to it than just like the rich people are hoarding it and they just cater to all the people who like that. There's certain political allies that they cater to, and they don't care about us common people. And you're like, oh, as you follow that character, you find out there's a lot more to it. There's a limited amount of medicine that can go around, and in an effort to try to be as fair as possible, sometimes they have to make very difficult decisions. But our other character, being among the people, doesn't quite see that, but then their worlds sort of collide after something happens to someone she cares about, and then you kind of see these two worlds come together. So if you like the enemies forced to work together trope, if you like the whole one person's in a place of power, and then another person's kind of like a street rat sort of character. I think that those tropes are, very appealing to a lot of us, myself included. But the thing that stood out to me that I actually really, really liked is that Bridgette Kemmerer did not shy away from the gray morality aspects of the story and the really hard decisions. There isn't an easy decision in this story. It's not like, I know what to do, and then there's a solution that saves the day. It's not like that. So then you really dive into, what would you do if you were in a position of power and you had to decide who did get this medicine, that if others don't get it, they will die, they will get sick. It asked all these questions, and I enjoyed it. I did have to laugh, though, at the juxtaposition of the female character in this one versus an Iron Widow, because Iron Widow, it's like, rage all the time, let's just take people down, and then this one, the girl's like, I can't do some of these difficult things, and then she'll cry and stuff. It's like, she cries a lot. Small Favors, though, has been my favorite thing that I've picked up thus far in this reading vlog. I had such a good time with this book. It's creepy, it's not really like a whole lot of other things I've read before. I'm gonna put it down, it's very bright yellow. But I don't know if it's gonna be as appealing to a lot of other people. I don't read a lot of creepy, scary stories, so some people might not think it's scary enough. Some people, I just don't know what a lot of people, I don't know the same tropes that are typically associated with these kinds of things. I know it's got a lot of the creepy stuff, though. It's got the kid with the imaginary friend, when after a while you're like, wait, is it? I mean, you as the reader are like, I don't think it's imaginary. It's got really weird things happening to animals where they have extra horns on their head if they're an elk, or instead of having regular paws or hooves, they have claws, or animals are birthing strange looking babies, and there's like interesting things going on with the people of this town. So the setup for the story is that you follow this very, very small town, and everybody kind of knows everybody. They work off the land, they're sort of religious, and everybody tries to help each other out, but they've got small town squabbles. And it's not quite modern day, but it's also not as I think a lot of times in fantasy stories, we tend to think more medieval-esque, and it's not that. But we follow a character, her and her family are beekeepers most of the time, and they also have a farm and whatnot. But they sell their honey, and they're just kind of going about their business. And the supply run that left to go get supplies before winter, pretty much everybody, stuff happened, and you're like, whoa. And her dad and her brother go to try to see if anybody is still alive or what happened, and they come back with not great news. Her brother saw some really strange things. A lot of people in the town have been seeing things with silver eyes. They think it's wolves. They're like, if there's these dangerous wolves in the forest, we're just gonna have to wait until spring or whatever. But then more things start happening, and you're like, what is going on? And I had such a good time with it. There were parts that were genuinely like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And it was very trippy, and I had such a good time with it. I don't want to say too much, because I think even revealing how you feel about the ending or the tone of the ending, I think that can be a spoiler. But I ultimately really enjoyed it. I'm so sorry to be kind of vague here, but let's just say I had a really good time with it. And even if you're not somebody who typically reads YA books, if you like creepy stories, I think you should pick this one up. And then you can tell me if you're like, wow, this isn't creepy at all. Let me actually give you some creepy recommendations, but I was creeped out by it. I know I haven't yet talked about Redemptor. I'm going to pick that one up after I finish She Who Became the Sun. So if I do another vlog in the future, in the near future, or when I get around to doing a wrap-up, I'll of course let you know my thoughts on those. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you've read any of these, or if you're interested in reading any of these, I would love to know your thoughts. But I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.